morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to meet you. My name is Geunho Jang, and I am the Chief Inspector of the Korean Fisheries Monitoring Center. Today, I would like to introduce Korea's fisheries monitoring system for its distance water fishing fleet and explain the roles and responsibilities of the Fisheries Monitoring Center. Thank you. Let's begin. The contents are here: overview, key tasks, and way forward. And let me start with the overview. I am going to start by telling you a story behind the birth of Korean distance water fishing vessels, because it is a quite fun story. Now, these are the photos taken back in 1957 when the Korean longline vessel named Geunho went out to the Indian Ocean with 16 crew on board for the first time on a trial. It was not an easy journey, but they managed to come back to Korea with some tons of tuna. It was a great achievement, given that the size of the vessel was only 230 tons, and they had no background knowledge back then on how to catch tuna. As you can see in the photo at the lower right, the then president and other officials are posing in front of a catch to celebrate the successful trial fishing operation of the Geunho. Here is the president. But sadly, it turned out later that what they caught was actually not tuna, but some kind of marlin. But this provided great momentum for the Korean distance water fishing fleet. Later, they expanded their presence to other oceans, contributing to the development of the Korean economy in the 1960s and 70s. The number of Korean distance water fishing vessels reached its peak at 850. But today, we see that the size of distance water fishing fleet has become much smaller. And this is where we are now. FMC currently monitors 190 Korean distance water fishing vessels authorized to fish in distance waters, along with 32 carrier and support vessels licensed to carry fish outside Korean waters. All of these vessels are automatically transmitted satellite-based positions to the FMC. Plus, we track the satellite AI positions of 210 illegal foreign fishing vessels, as well as foreign fishing vessels who once had interaction with Korean fishing vessels in the past. As you might know, AIS is for safety purposes, but it is also useful to track illegal foreign fishing vessels to ensure that they do not interact with Korean fishing vessels at sea. You may think that the number of distance water fishing vessels is rather small comparing to the past. However, given the fact that all vessels are operating in international waters where remote monitoring is only possible, and they are fishing in areas where fisheries are highly regulated, they can be considered as high-risk vessels. Therefore, it is very important to properly monitor and control the vessels to ensure that they do not engage in IUU fishing either intentionally and unintentionally. The next is organization chart. Currently, we have 3 teams, and the monitoring team in particular works every day to man the FMC 24/7. Next is a key task. The main task is to proactively take actions to completely prevent any possibility of illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. To that end, the FMC has a robust system in place called the Fisheries Monitoring System that enables us to conduct effective remote monitoring. So, how this system works? First, fishing vessels transmit their satellite position data and electronic fishing activity reports to FMC. Both positional data and fishing data are stored in fisheries monitoring system and used to monitor and verify vessels' activities. And the data is also shared with vessel operators through the system called KPIMS. Actually, the fisheries monitoring system is a combination of 3 different systems: VMS, ERS, and KPIMS. So let me briefly touch upon each system one by one. The first system is vessel monitoring system. This is an electronic chart that visualizes satellite-based positions automatically transmitted from fishing vessels. The positional data is transmitted every 20 minutes. When vessels approaches any prohibited areas, the system automatically increases the transmission frequency to up to every 5 minutes. In addition, vessels approaching prohibited areas can be closely monitored through dedicated individual monitoring windows. The next system is the electronic reporting system. This system allows inspectors to check the electronic fishing reports received from all distance water fishing vessels. Using the reporting device or tablet, distance water fishing vessels submit their fishing reports by simply touching the corresponding buttons. To comply with domestic and regional reporting requirements, fishing vessels submit detailed elements of their activities during the trip, such as species compositions, time and positions of net setting and hauling, transshipment, landing, and more. The last system is the KPIMS, which stands for Korean Fisheries Information Management System. It is a standalone web service provided to the vessel operators, allowing them to access data related to their own vessels, such as positions, catches amounts, transshipment, landing, and so on. This has been developed specifically for vessel operators. They are given IDs and passwords to review the data that their vessels have reported to the FMC. Using this comprehensive system in place, inspectors conduct routine remote monitoring 24/7. In case when a vessel approaches a prohibited area, misreports transshipment and landing, experiences a device malfunction, or fails to submit any required reports, FMC immediately gives instructions to the vessel in question. If there are reasonable grounds to believe that any vessel has engaged in suspected IUU fishing, FMC launches an investigation. But remote monitoring is not the only task we carry out. We do have some more important tasks, and one of them is to authorize transshipment activities. Unlike other fishing nations, Korean distance water fishing vessels are permitted to engage in transshipment only when authorized by the FMC. Once a transshipment request is submitted, inspectors verify the vessel's activities and review all relevant data carefully before granting authorization to the requesting vessel. And when it comes to landing in foreign ports, a landing declaration must be submitted. The next important task is field inspection and IUU investigation. In addition to remote monitoring, FMC also conducts physical inspection as well. You may be familiar with the PSMA, Port State Measures Agreement, which requires that measures applied to domestic vessels are as effective as those applied to foreign fishing vessels. As a part of this agreement, we work to ensure that Korean distance water fishing vessels comply with domestic and international regulations. Typically, we board the vessels returning to Korean port to check their general compliance and verify catches on board. And last year alone, the FMC inspected 36 vessels, achieving 50% coverage. Sorry. As for the investigation, FMC is the sole investigator responsible for investigating IU fishing by Korea distance water fishing vessels. When any non-compliance happens, FMC initiates investigation and submits the result to the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries to determine whether to impose sanctions. It is the support for the industry. Having a well-designed system is crucial. However, we believe that it is equally important to remind the industry of the seriousness of IU fishing. To this end, FMC invites industry stakeholders on a regular basis to provide them with tailored education and raise awareness. And the last one is international engagement. Korean distance water fishing vessels are operating in the waters of 10 coastal states, and Korea is party to 18 RFMOs. As IUU fishing is a global issue that cannot be solved by a single country, it requires cooperation between national fisheries enforcement agencies. For this region, Korean FMC maintains 47 global network with relevant states, RFMOs, and even NGOs to share information on IUU-related issues. Last one is our way forward. Korean FMC was established in 2014 and continuously improved its fisheries monitoring system over the past 12 years. As a result, we have now reached a highly stable operation state. However, Korean FMC is now preparing for another innovative years as we proceed. With this, Korean FMC will work on building a smart fisheries monitoring system that incorporates big data and artificial intelligence. When any non-compliance happens within Korea's jurisdiction, we can quickly send the patrol vessels to address the situation on the ground. However, this is not the case for distance water fishing vessels, as fishing takes place far from home. So Korea is committed to exploring cutting-edge technologies such as EM and integrating them into the FMS for improved monitoring, control, and surveillance. I believe the future version of the FMS will allow us to overcome current limitations and challenges. Along the way, we will keep working with the international MCS community to cover IUU fishing and share our experience and expertise in MCS. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.